What's up, everybody? Welcome to Metallysis for another album review. Today we're looking at Warbringer, Weapons of Tomorrow. So I'm a big Warbringer fan. Their last album, Woe to the Vanquished, was excellent, really front to back, fantastic tracks. And that was my first experience with them, so I went and listened to their whole back catalog. And they're very much a band that started off with a really strong album. Their debut album was excellent. And then it just got better and better with each album. When I went through it, I'm like, wow, they're improving in terms of their quality every single time. And a lot of times when bands do that, they hit a peak and then they start to plateau out, run out of ideas, or sometimes they just take a total different direction that may or may not be good. You look at Metallica, and they had Kill 'Em All, then Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, and Justice for All. And then they do Black Album, which is solid, but it's a totally new genre. It's really just hard rock instead of metal. And then after that, none of their albums have been even remotely close to Master Puppets or Ride the Lightning quality. They peaked at Master Puppets, and Justice for All was solid, Black Album was solid, and it's just been kind of downhill until they hit rock bottom with Saint Anger, came back up to Death Magnetic. And so this is a video about Warbringer, but my point is some bands peak and then it goes horrible. Warbringer's doing the opposite. Woe to the Vanquished was 10 out of 10. Excellent album. Really fantastic. I was wondering if they would be able to top that because I thought that was so good. I'm like, oh, they might have peaked. But Weapons of Tomorrow is perhaps even better. Every single track on here is phenomenal. The worst track on here is probably a 4 out of 5 based on my rating system. And if you're not sure how my ratings work, you can check out my website, metallysis.com. It's listed in there. So let's start with the album artwork. I always like to look at the artwork first. I also love Warbringer's artwork. I really like that this artwork is very clear and crisp, as opposed to sometimes like a lot of black metal can be very gray or ambiguous or smudgy kind of looking. And this is very clear and crisp, which I love. And it has just a really cool vibe. Warbringer tends to have some sort of background piece that tends to have guns, which makes sense because they're Warbringer. And then it kind of brings you to the front, and there's usually something going on in the air too, and it's very much matches their name. They have a super awesome logo. I love their logo. And then I love that they have this blue that's the main palette to this artwork. And then you have all the helicopters and planes, and it has that futuristic war look. If you look at Woe to the Vanquished, it kind of looks like a similar style of album cover. And then this one looks like the futuristic version of that, which makes sense because it's about Weapons of Tomorrow. So this is awesome. I already wanted to listen to this album because I'm a huge Warbringer fan. But this album cover really sells it. To me, this is a 5 out of 5. And not all their album covers are awesome. Like Woe to the Vanquished has an awesome album cover, but Empire's Collapse, I really hate that album cover. It's like weird artwork. I'm not super much a fan of that. So I like this new theme they have with Woe to the Vanquished and Weapons of Tomorrow. Super awesome artwork, so I hope they keep going with that. But in terms of the music, really every single song on here is pretty stellar. The only one that's like weak is Unraveling, but that's just a good solid song. But all the rest, my favorite is Crushed Beneath the Tracks, just a really heavy track. I would listen to that one if you want to just see what this album's about, to see if you like it. But really, I always recommend listening to an album front to back the way the artist meant for you to listen to it. Give them an hour or 45 minutes of your time, even if you don't necessarily like the first 2 tracks, to see if you would like it. And a lot of times they try and tell a story with it, and I don't know if that's the case here, but they start off with their Firepower Kills, which is the single, which is an excellent track. And I thought that was a great start when that came out. But really, the songs just get better and better throughout this whole album. The Black Hand Reaches Out is a phenomenal song. Notre Dame, The King of Fools is an excellent song. Glorious End is an appropriate way to end the album. And he shifts between his typical gruff. He doesn't really quite have a death metal vocal. It's kind of like a mix between Slayer's harsh shouting and a little bit of Metallica's more singing rock vibe, and it mixes those together for a nice aggression feel, which I really like. But Glorious End takes that and ebbs and flows that with some more like deep spoken word pieces that are supposed to represent his father's perspective, that I think is really cool. They also have Defiance of Fate and Heart of Darkness, which have some really cool, clean, melodic sort of sounds to them. But they never really quite hit ballad, or maybe you can define those as ballads. I don't really think of those as ballads. But it's their softer version that still has heaviness and aggression to it. And so it's really aggressive throughout the whole thing. I would give Firepower Kills, The Black Hand Reaches Out, Crushed Beneath the Tracks, Defiance of Fate, Notre Dame, and Glorious End all 5 out of 5. And then you have Heart of Darkness, Power Unsurpassed, and Outer Reaches would be 4.5 range. So Unraveling is the only one I give a 3 out of this whole album. It's a really excellent album that you can just put on and let the whole thing flow and not skip a single track. Everything can make the playlist. Usually I try and cut to the best tracks to put on my playlist, and I'm usually trying to stay in the 3 to 5 range. But this one was hard, and I probably put like 7 of them on my playlist. Really awesome. I hope they keep with their momentum they got going on here between Road to the Vanquish and Weapons of Tomorrow. These guys are killing it. And if they keep this upward trajectory, they're going to be on a really strong path. So overall, 5 out of 5 from the artwork to the songs to the musicianship to the lyrics to the themes to everything. Excellent album. Contender for Album of the Year. There's a lot of great albums that have come out so far, so it's going to be a very competitive scene this year for whoever gets Album of the Year. But check this out. Let me know in the comments below what you all think, and I'll see you next time.